a shit clap, but I don't have a clap stick. I don't have a clapboard, so anyway, we're rolling.
You should have said action.
Action. Is that an action? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, we are here with Mr. Sam White, Whitey Wiring. Been around in the game for longer than most people.
Not really.
Yeah.
No, not really.
You've been drifting longer than I have, which was 2011. You already had the S14?
2010 I got it.
Yeah. So I had my first R31 in 2010.
Yeah.
So we've been drifting the same amount of time.
There you go.
But, I don't know, everyone just knows you. Well, anyway, doesn't matter, so. What brought you here?
Oh, a good mate of mine said he's got a new little project that he wants to have a go at, and thought I'd come in and give it a crack with him.
Talk shit?
Yeah.
Do nothing else?
Yeah.
I tried to offer you beer.
It's a little bit early for beer.
It's 9 AM, it's not that early.
Well, I would drink beer, but I just don't want to be labelled an alcoholic.
Oh, it's only alcoholism if you use it to cope with your daily life.
Well, I do that sometimes.
Business owners.
Yeah.
No, I know that feeling. It was, when I was working rail and you fucking end up drinking like a case a night.
Okay, yeah, I definitely don't go through that much. Maybe a case a week.
No, I was proper Irish blooding and just fucking hammering it down. That was those clean skin things that fucking everyone else honestly was fucking bullshit about.
But they were good, hey?
Fuck yeah, they were good.
What are they, $30 a carton or something?
32.
Actually, that's not too bad.
See?
Macona's
good. Macona's a good instant.
It's no Blend 43. But...
Oh, come on. Blend fucking 40 shit.
It's the coffee.
The coffee to fucking throw in the bin.
No.
Speaking of bins, win runs, what do you think?
Win runs?
Yeah.
I don't know, I haven't used them that many times.
I wouldn't want to. Seriously, or work with them at work and they come out of the container in ovals. Yeah. And like all warped and wobbly, and it's like, yeah, there's no wonder these fucking things do.
But people froth on them, don't they? Like
nobody froths win runs, but everyone keeps trying to sell them because they're cheap.
What are they worth?
About the same as a Rapid. But a Rapid's got the same sort of issue.
All day session's coming up.
Yeah.
I need some tyres. We'll try the oval win runs.
The oval win runs. D-Lam on the fucking first corner.
I'll probably end up with those shitty right hands or something.
Oh. That's okay, I'm not allowed to sell tyres anymore.
You're not allowed to sell it?
No, they turned around and said, we think it's a conflict of interest if you sell the tyres that we're selling you. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. It should be in your interest.
I'm moving more of your product. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So I've been trying to convince them to let me sell tyres, but I still can't get anywhere. So I think I'm going to go to Sydney next. I'm like, look, I'm an employee, but I'm also a customer here.
Yeah. That's weird. That would be like me saying to Glenn or Nick, oh no, you can't work on other people's cars. No, that's a conflict of interest.
You can't sell on the products that I bought into the store to other people's cars because they didn't book through us.
If your brother wants work on his car, he can book it in and get it done here.
Yeah. The fucking car that he sold.
Yeah.
Or tie anyway. Fucking bye 8-6. Got so many hours.
Did we say good riddance?
No. I mean, good riddance to have to working on his car.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
For him.
Yeah.
But like the car was actually cool.
It sucks. Oh, I get it as well when I like look after certain people and then not even a year later they sell the car and it's just like,
wow,
cool. Like,
especially when they sell it to someone you're not mates with.
Yeah. Case in point, someone I know, I did a really nice loom for them. They sold the car to Corin.
Oh no.
Thankfully, there's silver lining to this story. Corin didn't really know what that loom was worth, so he sold it as a package to another mate of mine for a good deal, like way less than retail.
Oh wow!
So at least someone I know got what I put into it.
What did Lion King teach me growing up? The circle of life.
Yeah.
What goes around comes around.
That's pretty much what Corin's about. Hey, just
he doesn't sell cars much anymore.
He's putting cars together, eh?
Yeah, because he's selling them for more. So I did a couple of days driving for him, right? Just going to pick up cars.
Right. Yeah.
So like there was one car in Lismore or something like that I drove all the way down for, or
I remember you telling me about
it
doing that.
It was a 10.5-hour round trip.
Yeah.
I drove his car. He was good about it, paid me a decent wage, used his fuel, whatever.
Yeah.
It was alright. He's actually good to work for, but yeah, he paid like $4,000 for this S15 and sold it for $15,000. All he did was assemble one of the two motors that he got in the back with the good parts from each of them, slapped it together. Didn't even fuck it because it was a matte black paint.
Yeah.
He didn't even paint it, didn't clean it up, just slapped a motor in it. But like, it's not him doing the work. He's got a qualified fucking diesel mechanic.
Oh really?
Working for him.
Oh, true.
But he has for years.
Yeah.
But that's why his engines actually work and last. Like, his shop car isn't built by him.
Yeah.
He's good at pulling parts off of cars, but like he gets old mate to put them all together.
I remember doing a couple of small jobs back in the day when I was mobile for him.
I remember him
when
bragging.
He didn't have a shop.
Yeah. I remember him bragging because I was buying parts off of him then, like when he was at his house in Springwood.
Yep.
I'd rock up there and he's like, "Oh, your mate Whitey, I got him down here and he did this and he did this," and I'm like, "Cool." Yeah. I'm glad you're using him. But then he was like, "Oh, why do you cost too much?" It's like, so that's why he stopped getting shit done.
Oh.
But like, I don't know. He doesn't.
You want warranty and good work, and
you
got to pay for it.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And I mean, he's cheap. Good work for, but he's cheap. Like I said, slapped a car together and sold it for 3 times the price. Probably made a day's wage.
Good on him. He's made a good business out of doing that. So.
But I can't buy 32 parts from him anymore because he refuses to sell them.
Because he hoards them to put them in.
Hoards and puts cars together, and he's like, "I'm not selling cars to overseas." Because that's what Aaron's doing now, about old JDM garage. He's exporting cars, yeah. So he keeps trying to hit up Corin for every car that he sells to sell it to Yanks.
True.
Or a lot of the cars, not every car, but... So Corin's just like, "Fucking Aaron keeps hitting me up for these R33s," because that's what he was hoarding right before they were illegal. And right before the price went through the roof. And Corin was trying to do the same thing. So he's sitting on like 4 R33s right before the price went through the roof. So he bought them for like $3,000 or $4,000.
Yeah.
Fixed them up a little, and then was just letting them sit there. And he's like, "I'm not parting them. I'm not selling them." And he sat on them for a bit, and he ended up selling them for over like $10,000 each. So.
No, you can't be disappointed that someone's.
No, I absolutely appreciate the hustle.
That's right. Yeah.
And that is my whole thing. I love the hustle.
Yeah.
But just seeing other people being able to make it work, and I'm just like, I gotta fucking start a YouTube channel.
Why can't that be me?
It's not so much why can't that be me, but it's like, what am I gonna do?
What's my break?
Yeah, what's my niche? So like, I mean, like when I started the tyre shop and I was selling to people, I was like, yeah, I'll fucking do tyres for dudes, because Aaron obviously stopped fucking doing tyres for drifters and shit like that, and he was sort of starting to scale down his business.
Yeah.
So I was like, alright, I'll come in and I'll help drifters out, and that'll be my niche, and it worked for about two-ish years. but that was like, and I didn't do it to make a lot of money. Like, as you know, you came and you got tyres at like cost price, and I'd fit them at like 10 o'clock at night or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was never about the money, but like, I don't know, it was just, I figure now, like, if I could go back again, I'd do sign writing, and I'd fucking get like a proper balancer and a proper machine, and I'd just go into like actual like selling to the regular public and just
hard out with it.
That. Yeah, do 4-wheel drive stuff. Like the amount of fucking 4-wheel drive tires that I deliver at work, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like the Gold Coast in particular, love BF Goodrich's, man.
They're pretty popular tyre, eh?
Oh yeah, and they're a good tyre. Like, out of all the tyres that I have to throw around, they're like the hardest, the strongest, the heaviest of all the 4-wheel drive tyres.
Okay. So they feel like they've got a quality to them.
Yeah. They're a prick to load into the trucks because they're usually bigger and chunkier, and they make the weaves fall over when you're driving around with them. But like when you load, like when you're loading them in, like you can't really put them up the top weave because they'll fall over and drag everything else with it.
Then you got a mess to sort through at the next stop.
It's literally like fucking emu pickup trying to find space for the next customer. It just slows you down so much. But yeah, no, Gold Coast run usually has like 40 BF Goodrich's every day.
Yeah. Like
they get the run has about between 150 and 200 tyres a day. About 40 of them are all BFs. So
there you go.
Solid, and like they're not cheap tyres either. Like they're fucking $500 each. Like people pay $3,000 for a set of wheels and a set of BFs.
Yeah.
So if I could go back and do my time again, I'd probably focus more on that stuff. Especially considering I had Bud's Customs right across the street. Yeah.
That's the same with me. I want to try and get into the 4-wheel drive stuff and do more of it, but at the moment I just don't even have the time. Everyone wants engine looms and conversions and stuff, so I'm just like,
the money's there, but there's not enough manpower. Like,
yeah.
This is going to sound weird, but like as someone who thinks about owning businesses and like how to run it and everything like that, I sometimes think about your business.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, what would I... And it's like the diversification, like do you stay specialist or do you try and diversify and like move into doing like tyres and mechanical regularly, move into the 4-wheel drive sort of stuff? But like thinking about that, you need to take on a qualified mechanic full time. You need to buy the shop, or you need to take the shop next door as well, and just basically have a hoist and all that sort of shit in there, and then just have like Glenn's just doing looms all day. Yeah. And you running between the two trying to...
Yeah, no. Plus there's a lot of risk involved with that. Like, you know, what if it doesn't take off? What if I'm putting a mechanic on and I'm paying wages from to twiddle their thumbs? So... Yeah. It's a hard one. Yeah. But I mean, I've always, like, in terms of the electrical stuff, I've always tried to be diverse with the stuff that we do. Yeah. But yeah, at the moment... I can't be diverse, so it's literally everyone's coming to me for what we really specialise in. So
no one else really. I mean, there are a couple of people that do it, but like nobody does it at the quality level. I don't think.
It's funny, hey. Like when I started, I didn't really know of anyone else around doing it. There was a couple of others, and then that was it. But you'd never really hear too many names, like. Because when I was working at a performance shop myself, like you just, where do you go to get wiring done? And it's just like, don't know.
Well, that's going to you.
Yeah, that's it. Now, there's still a couple of other guys out there doing similar sort of stuff, but they're just sort of, we're all at different tier levels. Realistically, there's, you know, I guess I would be at the more affordable end, and then there's like guys that are doing the real high end stuff that we can do, but we find that people just want to go the more affordable route. So
that's wild, because like I look at the work that you do, and there is no conversion loom that you have ever like been like, can't do it, I'm not touching it really. And then the quality that comes out of it is like I honestly believe it's like top tier, because I've been to wiring, like other wiring people, and they're just like, oh, I don't know the pin outs, I'm not going to touch it. But if you're just like, every ECU is the same damn ECU, just different pins on different ones, and then work out what it is on the factory one, and then
look, I'll give anything a crack. I'm not going to say that I can do it all, but I'll give anything a crack and see if I can figure it out.
I don't know. I personally, I think both the quality, like, people probably try and opt for the more lower range to get in there, but like, as far as quality and like ability wise, I think you're more towards the top tier.
Thank you.
Because I don't really, even like overseas, like if you look at overseas, like wiring specialty dudes, like they're shipping lower quality shit that people are like, oh, this is the best stuff. Like my replacement coil pack loom, I bought that really before you were in, like you were still mobile at the time. That was before you were still really going into the engine loom stuff.
Back then that was probably better quality than what I was punching out.
But I have a look at it now and it's so subpar. Like I look at the work that you've done for me in other vehicles, and then I look at that stuff and I'm like, just get him to do the whole loom again.
Like we get from time to time customers getting us to fit looms and stuff that come from elsewhere, like all sorts of places, and I just look at them and go, how much did you pay for this? Like, and like some of them, like I remember this one in particular. We had a guy, he didn't know about us at the time, but he was doing a JZX 100. I can remember that one. It was he had a loom from the States.
Oh yeah.
And he just wanted us to fit it and do a fuel system and stuff like that. And he ended up he was building a 1.5J, wanted a new loom, ended up going 2J VVTi, and which the looms are essentially the same between 1J and 2J VVTis. We fit it up for him and I'm just like, it looked crap. Like, I'm not going to beat around the bush. It looks crap. Like, and I asked him how much he paid for it, and it was more plus freight than what we charge.
Oh wow!
And and he's like, "Oh, I wish I had known about you guys." And like, when he bought it, but we ended up in the end we fit it, took it to get tuned, ended up coming back because he wanted a new one, wanted it to look better. So
that's gold. That's what you want to be at.
Yeah, that's right. So
no, I struggle with the wiring. I mean, I don't mind it as a concept, but like
looking at it as therapeutic.
Looking at it is stressful, very stressful. But like my background, I wanted to be an engineer. That's when I was growing up through school, everything like that, wanted to be an engineer. So I look at everything from a very engineer sort of standpoint.
Right.
So when I see wiring looms, I see an engineer's diagram of wiring looms. I don't actually look at wiring looms, and then when I look at an actual wiring loom, I'm like, fuck. So I like wiring looms as a theoretical standpoint
from the drawing part.
And then I don't
when it's
really
just straight lines going like this.
And it's easy to follow, and like the pins all go like this, and then you've got the level 1, level 2 separate, and what the oh, it was computer. From a theoretical standpoint, so like that's what I did. I when I was in school, I went and did engineering or CAD engineering and all that sort of stuff. Like I got halfway through my my bachelor's in it.
Oh really?
Dropped out, because I can't stand. I don't have the attention span to sit behind a computer all day.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it is. And I could do alright, the math. I enjoy math, I can do that. I enjoy the drawing part of it.
Yeah.
That's alright, but converting it from files and all that sort of stuff, it drove me insane, and I was just like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this anymore. So like back when
want to do hard labour.
Yeah, like an idiot. So yeah, I dropped out of that right as I finished school, because like half of it was in school, because the school sort of.
So you had a foot in the door into uni.
Yeah, and I even did a traineeship at an engineering job joint around the corner from me. I was full committed to go into engineering until the end of high school, and then I dropped out of that, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to go to uni for physics because I like math, and then I dropped out of physics 6 months in. And then I went and did mechanics. So
yeah, right. Well, you know, when I was in high school, I wasn't even into cars.
See, I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you get into cars? Because your first one was the N13, right?
Yeah, that was my first car.
Yeah.
So when I was in high school, I remember seeing an ad for like the 2001 to 2003 Astra.
Oh.
The TS one.
Yeah.
Remember the SRI turbo
yeah,
ones?
Yep.
I saw the ad and it had one of those Sharpei dogs on the back seat, and when the turbo kicked in, all its rolls went back. And I saw that and I'm like, that's cool. I'd like to own one. So that was my first sort of like, oh, that's a cool car sort of a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from the obvious, like the DeLorean from Back to the Future, like who doesn't like that? But
Rolled cold steel.
yeah.
Love it.
But it wasn't until my good mate at high school, who's still one of my best mates, got his license and put a stereo into his first car. That was the turning point for me. And then it's just like, oh yeah, I think I like cars now.
Yeah, everyone gets that noof in them. It's like over. What was it? What was it when I was at school? Lollipop. By Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
2 12-inch subs in the back.
But even then, so that's when I was sort of into cars.
Yeah.
But it did make me want to get into the industry. I was going to be a builder or cabinet maker or something like that. I loved working with wood. Like at high school, I got awards for my woodworking and stuff like that. And that's where I sort of thought I was heading. And I was working at a cabinet making place after high school, and then they promised me an apprenticeship, and then they're like, oh yeah, if you show us how good you are the next 4 weeks or whatever. I was just a lackey at that point, I was literally putting all the edge banding on all the cabinetry and stuff like that. Like that's all I did all day, every day. It's pretty good at it too.
Talking up the lowest film.
Like, because it was all in one of those automatic machines, like you just put the timber in and it glues it on.
Yeah.
But then after that, you'd have to go around and fine trim the edges. But I got that machine so spot on that you wouldn't have to go around the edges.
Oh.
But anyway,
classic whiteism.
But because I hadn't had a job in high school or anything like that, I didn't really have any work ethic, and so I was starting work there, had to get up at 5 o'clock, and I'm just like, stuff this is shit, and I'd have days off and stuff. So they're like, if you prove to us for the next 4 weeks that you can stick it out and no days off and all this sort of stuff, we'll put you on as an apprentice. 5 weeks later, we don't need you anymore. Yeah. So I was using up sort of what I'd built up of holiday pay and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then I saw an ad on like Seek or something. I can't remember. What was it? 2006.
Probably pre-Seek.
Yeah, it would have been. It was on some job search ad, and it's just like saw this ad for like, fitting stereo systems. Well, no, it wasn't fitting stereo systems. It sort of was like diagnosing window electric motors and yada yada yada. And I'm like, because I installed stereo on my first car by this stage, and I'm just like, it sounds pretty interesting. And then that's how I started my apprenticeship, and the rest is history.
Because I was gonna say, your old man doesn't seem to like cars. Like he will help you to no end, but
he's not
the cars roll in and it's like they're all pieces of shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Like he's not a car guy. He'll appreciate nice cars and stuff like that. But yeah, he wasn't into cars or anything like that. Knows heaps of stuff, but yeah, just
you turned around. Did it have a CA in it when you bought it, or did you swap that in there?
It was literally the first car was bog stock, 1.6 litre, centre point fuel injection.
Oh.
So it looked like a carby, but it wasn't a carby.
Yeah.
And I remember taking it to a dyno day at Mazfix.
Ooh. All of like 53 horsepower.
There was an award for the lowest horsepower, and I'm just like, I've got this in the bag. I'm getting an award today.
Did you lose to a mirror?
No, I won.
You won?
39 horsepower.
Oh! 0 to 100 in maybe?
Next time you're at the shop, I've got the trophy up on that wall.
Oh, really? That's wild.
I think the dyno sheet's there too.
I think I know what I think I've seen that trophy.
Yeah, it's like a clear glass.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's wild.
So, but yeah, and then I was like, I want to do something with this thing. I want to make it faster.
Yeah.
I was sort of like, do I spend money on this thing and make it faster? Or, because I wanted to build an engine, that's what it was. I was like, I want to build an engine. Because where I started my apprenticeship, there was a mechanic. Yeah, there was a mechanic next door, and he had like a super saloon VN Commodore.
Oh, wow.
And, he
worth
was
nothing, but then all of a sudden worth like $500,000.
Well, it was just one of those like saloon series or whatever, what they race, where they're controlled, like you can only do so much to them and whatever. And he was building an engine. I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. So I was like, do I build a CA and put it in the Pulsar? Or do I build an SR and then buy an S13 later on down the track? Idiot me built the CA. Not that the CA is a bad engine. It definitely sounds better than an SR.
CA is God's 4-cylinder.
It is a good engine.
Do you know why?
Why?
Mini RB.
So, and I was just like, all right, did that. I got fucked over with the first machinist who worked on it, and then I sort of got a little bit fucked over with the second people that I used, but not really. It was sort of a little bit their fault, a little bit mine, lack of knowledge. I ended up like, it would have been like 18 grand that I was in the hole. That I tallied it up, like I'd spent like 18 grand or like
for a CAN13.
Yes. Yeah. I just look back and I'm just like, damn, because it was like, you get your tax back, you put it into the car.
Oh, yeah.
Because I took a loan out to build the motor and stuff like that, just retarded. And then had to get a bit more for more repairs. And
so let me ask you, all this financial success you have now, is that because of Janessa?
No, she's not one of those, like I'll help you succeed sort of thing. Like she will, obviously, but
she
she's like,
doesn't let you spend money on dumb stuff.
Well, she doesn't let me. No,
doesn't let you. I like that one.
But because she'll probably see this, so I'm not going to say anything more to incriminate myself.
Oh, okay.
I've probably already said too much. But nah, yeah, that was young and dumb.
Yeah.
I ended up selling because like I bought a Haltech E8 for it, the old red box Haltech. I wired that in. I got ECC to tune it back in the day when they were still learning the tune.
Yeah.
Like I remember, I ended up working with him, and he loaded up the tune file that he'd done for me, like 3 or 4 years prior, and he looked at it, he just goes, oh fuck. Like what was I doing? Sort of a thing. Was funny as. But because the first motor blew up like straight away.
Oh.
It practically blew up on the dyno at Mercury Motorsport. Like wasn't technically their fault. Yeah, it wasn't technically their fault, but what they sort of said to me with it all and stuff was sort of showed their lack of skill, I guess. That was sort of like, it seized on the dyno, but okay.
Yeah.
But it turned out it was the machining. Like the people that machined it, you could still see the boring machine marks. Like hadn't been home properly and stuff, and
That hurts.
and then the next place I took it to, as I said, it was a little their fault, a little my lack of experience. They did a good job on the machining and all sorts of stuff. And like I took the whole motor there, all disassembled and stuff, because I had to get a new block, obviously.
You go 20,000
No, actually, no.
to 200,000.
No, sorry, I took them the original block that I had, and oil pump and everything, and they disassembled the oil pump and cleaned everything out and put everything in boxes and bags for me to reassemble.
Yeah.
Really helpful and stuff, and they were good. They didn't put the relief spring and stuff from the oil pump back.
Right.
So I got the oil pump back, disassembled. I'm like, all right, so that gear goes in there. This backing plate goes on. These are the screws for it, because I had it in the back like a bag and stuff. So I'm like, oh yeah, sweet. No relief spring. So I didn't know that it wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I put it all together. Did have an oil pressure gauge, but I dropped it off like the top shelf in Dad's shed. So I was just like, it's reading 0, but it's probably fucked. Like, because I dropped it. Drove up the street. Engine seizes at the top of the street because no oil pressure.
Do you know now that you're supposed to crank it until you get a read?
Oh, don't you worry about that. I've learned a lot of lessons the hard way. So I'm very cautious with oil pressures with customers' cars and stuff like that. I've got lots of checks, but it was funny. Well, like, because do you remember where I used to live, my parents' place? Did you ever go there?
Yeah. I went there to buy that Walbro pump.
That's right. Yeah. So you remember how it's big slope. So we're at the top of the street, and we're like, oh, just like the starter's going click, click, click because the motor's seized.
Oh.
And I'm just like, let's roll it down the hill as fast as we can. I'll try and clutch dump it. It was that seized that when I popped it in second, it's just like
big skid down the street.
But like when
your old man would have come out and just be like, what the fuck?
I don't think he was there at that point. But it was when we pulled it down, the center main bearing, the thrust bearing, had actually welded to the crankshaft and chewed the cast iron block out.
Oh,
yeah.
She was cooked.
Oh yeah, she was cooked. So I went back to those guys and I said, hey, I know what went wrong and I know it's mostly my fault, but if you had given me all my parts back, I would have made the obvious assumption, because I got a mechanical brain like that, that goes in there and the oil pump would have worked.
Yeah.
So they're pretty cool. They're like, look, get another block and we'll do your half price on the machine work for the next one. So I thought that was pretty good, like, because it's not technically not their fault. If it doesn't have oil pressure, don't run it. So as I said, learnt lessons the hard way.
The fun way to do things. No, what was it? I think fucking RBs, man. Like my first boosted car was the Starline, the R32.
Really, the one outside?
Not that one, the 4-door one.
That's right. You forgot you had a 4-door.
Yeah, the crappy one that was like crashed into and everything like that. So that was my first boosted car. So in a similar sort of fashion, like, because it had like a TA4Z or whatever it was on it. It was really lagging.
Is that the one that you had for ages and now Alex has got?
Yeah. Yeah.
The TA4E?
Or TA4E, whatever it was. It was like 5.5, like my current turbo, 5,500 RPM, but it could only run 12 PSI because it was factory everything.
And that, but comparing that to your current turbo, you shouldn't.
I know.
That's a big turbo.
But same RPM that they come on, just completely differently.
Yeah, but that TA4E is like a baby bitch turbo in comparison to the one you got now.
Yeah, a little bit. But I did the old, well, if I can't drive it off boost, I'll just turn the boost up and I'll put a manual boost T. And I kept going and I was like, 14, 15 PSI, it drives all right like this. What's 17 PSI like? Completely fucking stock injectors, fucking ECU, everything completely stock.
Did you melt pistons?
There is footage of it existing somewhere of the ring landing from cylinder 6 going out the wastegate.
Oh, really?
At Archie.
Through the turbo. Oh no, sorry, yeah, out the wastegate.
big sparks, big fucking chunky sparks, and I'm like, that's the end of that motor. And then it didn't drive off boost. Like, it was like, but you could build boost, clutch dump it, and it would drive on boost. It would still fucking...
Boost to add the compression back.
Yeah. So it was fine on boost for the rest of the night, but yeah, we pulled it in, and I pulled it apart. That was my first motor. I pulled it apart, and yeah, basically 3/4 of cylinder 6 was gone, and like just completely torn away and melted, and then like 1/4 of it had like chunked off, and that was what exited the wastegate. And like, it was only cylinder 6 and cylinder 1, which get the two worst airflows on a stock manifold with the lock manifold. But yeah, so you got to be, like, when you're tuning it, you've got to be careful on cylinder 6 and whatnot that it doesn't lean out, because they don't get enough air in them, so you got to run less fuel in them.
And they get too much.
Or they don't get enough air, so you got to run less fuel, so they don't dead and blow out. But yeah, so that was the problem that I had with the first motor. And like, aside from the fact that it was always running hot, and I was like, oh, I don't understand why it's always running hot. So when I swapped the second motor in, like, I fucking posted on SD, I'm like, this car gets hot. I put the new motor in and it still gets hot. Like, I was absolutely limited bashing it because it's an R20 and that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then like, I didn't know that fan shrouds existed, because I had front-wheel drive Corollas, and the fan comes with its own shroud. It's just a bolt on. The fan and shroud come out as an electrical one piece.
Yeah.
So I had the mechanical fan, but like the hub in the center of it was fucked. And then I didn't have a shroud either. So like, the car would always get hot, so I had to replace it. Like, I put a brand new shroud on there. Which ended up being the shroud that I shredded at your shop with the fucking GKT thing. So I've got to buy another new one of them.
Oh, you still don't have one?
I still don't have one, that's why the car still gets hot. And I know this.
You haven't learnt your lesson.
I know the lesson. I just haven't done anything to modify my behaviour since I bought the first one. But yeah, no, I replaced the hub as well for a better, like, gripping one, because the other one, like, you go to that like that and it just I was like, that's not supposed to do that.
The silicon inside it has gone a bit melty and doesn't hold on anymore.
Yeah, the one I like is the Hilux ones are a hydraulic fluid and they leak out.
You know, with GQ Patrols, you can actually pull their viscous hubs apart and put a Toyota sell a silicon replacement fluid to put in there. So you just put that in the GQ Patrol ones, and they're awesome again.
That's what you're supposed to do with the Toyota ones. Like, every 100,000 you're supposed to pull them apart and replace the...
I don't know why you can do it with the GQ one, but you can't with any other Nissan ones.
Maybe you reckon the GQ fan would fit on a Skyline?
Many different fan hubs for the motors. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So probably no.
Just do one for everything, fucking manufacturers. Listen to me now, engineers. Make one hub for everything.
I don't understand what some manufacturers think. Like, we're making 2 of the same cars, but one's NA and one's turbo, but we're going to make different parts for this one.
Same motor.
Yeah. But one of my customers got that LX90 Cresta that we just finished with the 1J conversion.
Yeah.
He's having all sorts of dramas with diffs and drive shafts and that, because it's a diesel, it has different PCD tail shafts and drive shafts and all sorts of stuff, and he's like, what fits?
You know my favourite one?
What's that?
Nissan's SR20. Front wheel drives don't bolt up to the rear wheel drive box. Yeah. They've got a completely different bolt pattern.
It's not just the box, the engine mounts, where all the like compressor and alternators are on different sides. Like, they're distributors on the back. They're a completely different motor. Wow. Like, there is nothing that interchanges. Like, obviously, people put the later model VE heads and stuff onto it and make them work, but yeah, the bottom ends are just different.
See, that's why I like 4As. They're literally all the fucking same from 1983 all the way to 1999 when they finished making the 20 valve.
But you know, CA's rear-wheel drive and front-wheel drive all the same. That's what? So my even to the point where this is what sucks about your 4A conversion, right? So the CA that I had in my Pulsar was completely a rear-wheel drive engine. Even the intake manifold was rear-wheel drive. The throttle body has the same bolt pattern as a cap on the end. So you just unbolt one, flip it over. Well, actually, you went this way, sorry. So the throttle body was at the back of the engine and the cap that was on the back went on the front.
See, that's wild. That's
so
cool.
There you go. So
CAs are the only more slightly interchangeable than
yes,
4As.
than the 4As, yes. So
Toyota, what are you doing to?
But then they go and do silly thing like the SR20 from
completely different.
Doesn't make any sense. But maybe it's gearbox constraints. I don't know.
It's not even gearbox constraints. Like you can bolt up. I
suppose with the 4As,
a 4A you can bolt like 20 different gearboxes straight onto it. Like even as far as going, like you can fit gearboxes from Celicas and shit.
Yeah.
So like all your front wheel drive Celica boxes right up until the 2ZZ, so the 3S FE boxes bolt basically straight on.
Well, actually, in saying that with the CA, that bolted pretty well to the 1.6 litre gearbox.
Yeah.
Like most of the bolts lined up.
Yeah.
There's a couple that didn't, and like obviously the cover plate didn't really work too well, but yeah, pretty well bolted up for the most part.
What are they doing with the fucking SR20s?
Yeah.
Making them completely different.
No, you know what sucks? Why did they not bring out the VE rear-wheel drive?
How's this? Fucking Nissan turns around and they're like, we're going to make the most flowy head because fucking Honda and Toyota are stuck in this dick pulling battle at the 1.6 litre mark, and they're like, we're going to do it. And they turn around and they make this fucking front wheel drive motor to compete with fucking Honda and Toyota and put it in rear wheel drive.
And they even turboed it in the X-Trail GTs in Japan. Did you know that?
I did not.
SR20 VET is actually an actual stock motor.
Oh wow.
But it's a front wheel drive one because it's in X-Trail.
You can get 3SG beams turbocharged in the RAV4s.
Really?
Yeah.
In Japan?
In Japan. Not in fuck Toyota Australia. That's my motto. Fuck Toyota Australia.
Fuck Nissan Australia too.
But I mean, you can get a 3SG, just a regular turbocharged all-wheel drive RAV4 here. It's just on the beams one, but you can get the beams one with the bigger cams and the VVT.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
I want to get a turbo RAV4.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
You remember those ads for the 200 kilowatts? That was for the 3S GTE in the RAV4.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm finding one.
200 kilowatts.
I'm getting one.
Well, that's what I wanted, is like a tow car.
But ECU, bigger turbo, injectors. Yeah. Can you imagine doing some four-wheel roosters on the beach in a little RAV4?
I mean, that's cool in its own, but could you imagine like pulling up to some meet, you've got like 350 all-wheel horsepower in this RAV4, everyone's talking shit and you just like doing...
And what, then you and then you're towing your 100 horsepower 4A86 behind it.
Not even 100. Not the rear wheels anyway.
Hey, you're not going to get as low as the Pulsar, mate.
No, I'm not. I'm not. And that thing's got 4.7 diff gears too, so... You know, living the good life.
So it's not going to go very fast in the top end.
Oh no, it's going to be fifth gear, 4,500 RPM, 100k an hour, trying to get down QRs back straight, going. So yeah, no, it's because it's on the 13s as well. Like I've got a 15560 or something on the rear, something tiny anyway. And I've got to change the front ones because I found Nankangs.
Yeah.
Through, I mean, I can drive around at work and talk to all these different tyre suppliers that buy through us, but like, I found Nankangs in a NS2R in a 17550 R13, which are the same. So those are a 20 inch. The whole rolling diameter is 20 inches.
Rolling on 20s?
Yeah, rolling on 20. 13s, 20s. I think it's like 20.02 or something like that is the whole rolling diameter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then the 17550 is the same as the 15560 in the rolling diameter, or very, very similar, close to.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go those on the front, and then on the rear I'm going to run the 155s. So I've got 155, tiny little fucking tyres.
Cheese cutters.
Yeah, tiny little rolling rotation, 4/7 diff gears. I'm going to be absolutely flat out, 5th gear, going down QR back straight, ready for a tip in at fucking dipper.
So, if I cut and shut that manifold during the week, what excuses then do you have to get that thing running?
I've just got to buy water relocation shit and fix up the wiring loom. I've already half pulled the wiring loom apart to relocate it, so that's already
Is it
half
a front wheel
done.
drive loom?
Yeah. So I've got to make some changes and some directional changes and some block changes, but otherwise it's literally just I've got to buy the stuff off SMQ for the water relocation, and then I could literally just I could even now I could probably grab a battery, chuck it in the front of it where it won't sit because the previous owner cut the tray out of it.
Yeah.
So I could physically put a battery in the front and crank it. I've got the starter motor, I've got the gearbox.
So if I modify the manifold and then make like a universal fuse box onto the loom with a go button, then you have no excuses.
None. I'd go. I'm fucking ready. I'd box that rear end, like I've got to box the rear end. I mean, I could run the car, but I've got to box that rear end and modify the drive shaft to be shorter because it's probably about that too far long. But I've also got to cut more out of the trans tunnel and shit like that because I went too low. And then I've got to buy coilovers. Or I've got to steal the struts out of the one out there. And just drop them in my car and make him buy coilovers.
Cameron, he's stealing your struts.
Yeah. He already knows. But yeah.
They're already gone.
Yes. XT130, baby. But no, I'm super keen to drive it, eh? Like that's what I wanted that car for, is just a practice car so I can, like, it'll use a tank of fuel every fucking decade maybe. It'll use a pair of tyres every month maybe, and I'll be able to I'll just be able to drive and drive and drive. I won't be very fast, but I'll be able to drive. And that's what's important.
Okay, well, you have the loom laid out how it needs to be and taped in branches, all stripped.
Well, not quite taped, but yeah, in where it's supposed to be.
No, but what I mean is
your
branches.
There's the 3 branches, so there's the engine loom, the front and the rear.
Yeah, so you have it laid out how it needs to be and just have the branches taped.
Yeah.
Piss off the alternator wiring out of it. Well, the battery, you know how they've got the main battery cable in it?
Yeah.
Fuck that off. I'll put like 2 relays on the end of the loom somewhere with a couple of fuses and a switch and a start button and then a cable that you just have to hook to the battery. Then you can tape it all back up. But you probably won't tape it back up.
I'll tape it back up. I'll use the nastiest, cheapest...
Oh. No, use that furry tape.
Oh! I'm going to find where you get that furry tape. Man,
I hate
love
it.
it.
I hate it. And it's, the most, I just don't understand why people think it looks good. Like, people like rewrap engine looms with it.
People actually like it?
Yeah, people like it. And I'm just like, no. And people put it in engine bays. It's like, it's not supposed to be in engine bays.
Oh.
It's OEM use it under dashes.
Yeah.
And I
don't even like it then, but they use the one wrap to hold it up, don't they? They don't wrap the whole...
Oh no, they wrap branches, some manufacturers, yeah.
That's gross.
But I'll get you a roll of the stuff that we use that's that hard fabric tape.
Yeah, okay.
That's designed for engine bays.
The nice stuff.
And I know for a fact that Kia actually use it on their engine looms. Actually, a lot of manufacturers do, but I've personally modified a Kia engine loom. Yes, a Kia engine loom for a Kia engine conversion.
A Kia engine conversion?
Yes. Someone actually put, I don't know, a Kia Optima engine or something.
Yeah.
Like a 2 litre into like a, I can't remember what it was, but still
Kia
auto and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. And I'm just like, they're like, here's all the wiring diagrams for an Optima and stuff. And I'm like, okay, sweet. Well, I'll make it work. Started, ran, changed gears and stuff. to a point, and then I never heard what ended up happening with it because there was no speed signal coming out of the gearbox to the ECU.
Oh, right. They probably just fucking left it.
I don't know, it went to a gearbox shop and they're just like, oh, the speed sensors are working, and I'm like, well, there's nothing at the plug coming out of the gearbox, so
yeah. If I was
and the wiring's inside the gearbox from that point, like.
If I was the owner, I'd just be like, phone's got a GPS.
No, because it didn't have proper speed, it didn't change gears properly. Because it didn't know because it has input shaft speed, output shaft speed, and it's just like, we don't know what we're doing. When do we change gears?
At some point.
But yeah, so it was originally wrapped in that tape, and when we modified the whole loom, we rewrapped it in the same tape, and it looked OEM.
Mint. Couldn't even tell that you'd fucked with it.
But yeah, so I'll give you some of that tape.
Make it look nice for you.
So I'm not taping it, but you can do that. That's boring.
Taping, it's fine. I got nothing but... No, I don't actually have nothing but time. I work now.
Yes.
That's why I put this podcast as bad, like, just...
Didn't you come up with this idea like 3 months ago?
Longer. May. I actually, probably started thinking about it in May. I approached you about 3 months ago. Around
Hey.
July.
It didn't take me that long to get here.
No.
It
took me that long to put it together.
Just so you're aware, it's not my fault.
It's mine. I do it. It's just the research on doing it, the buying the stuff, the getting it all together, the sort of working out what, like, I wanted to work on a certain aesthetic. Like, there's a lot of podcast, like, and my idea behind it was like Joe Rogan Experience meets Rooster Teeth's Drunk Tank, like pre-buyout money sort of podcast where they're all sitting on couches and everything like that. So they were sitting around the table and talking shit.
You know what you should do? Green screen.
I actually want to get a signature wall, like big little wall, and just have everyone who comes on sign on it somewhere. But then the missus came up with this idea where we stick the thing to the table, like everyone's sticker, and it's sort of like easier and cheaper because then I don't have to buy a big piece of fucking board for someone for people to fucking sign on. So and that was it, and just trying to conceptualize, come up with, work out, and then sort of put it into practice, especially now that I've been working for 3 months.
Yeah.
Or just over 3 months. Like, the second I start to get a roll on it, I'm just like, I've got to now dedicate 40 plus hours of my life a week to working. I can't just...
Well, it's set up now, so...
Yeah. Hopefully it's received well, but next time you come here, we're going to have the beers, which means it's going to have to be at night sometime.
Fair enough.
It's thereabouts.
Yeah.
Get on the beers and talk piss shit. Something like that, I don't know.
I've seen you on the beers.
Yeah. It's only a problem when someone starts mixing fucking Canadian clubbing with a beer bomb. That was fucking wild. When's your next Christmas party?
I don't know.
You not doing one this year?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm thinking I should have a break because the last one was,
kind of wild. There was the one with all the skids and...
Oh, there's always skids.
Yeah, but with the fucking Hilux.
Yeah, that happened the year before.
Have you guys still got the Hilux?
Yeah, it's just been fixed up.
Oh.
It's looking fresh.
You gonna drive it?
What do you mean?
You got the nav.
Yeah, I'm allowed to have the nav.
Oh, you're allowed to have
I'm allowed to have my car.
Oh.
My car. Janessa.
That's if she makes it this far.
She's like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
I'm done now. 30 seconds
why
in.
Why would I want to see you sit here and talk?
Yeah.
I do that every day.
I see you talking shit with my father every day.
How's the move going? Like, you got that block, you reckon you got the shittest internet?
It's not too bad, actually, the internet.
Yeah.
It's
changed your mind?
Look, it I've had max download speeds of like 2.3 megabytes a second, so it's not too bad. I mean, it's definitely 1/5 of what I had.
Yeah.
Probably still better than what you've got.
No, I got NBN here.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I get like 80 down. 80 or 90 down, megabytes down.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking like real legit actual download speeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just on SpeedNet. I'm like when you're actually downloading something.
No, I'm talking about when I'm downloading something.
You can download things at 80.
Yeah.
Through what? Because everything I've ever used... Yeah, but everything I've ever used, like if I'm updating WoW or something on Steam, the most I've ever seen is like 12 meg.
The most I've ever seen through my Xbox, but they have a really weird rubber banding, is like 140 megabytes when I'm updating a game. The most I've ever seen on my computer when I'm downloading programs and stuff like that, I'll see anywhere between 70 and 80 megabytes a second.
Just not megabits.
No, megabytes. I'm downloading like 3 gigs in like 2 or 3 minutes.
How does that work? My speed test on my fibre NBN was 80 to 90.
But you can never download at that speed?
But it never...
That's weird because my speed test tests roughly what I'm downloading at. So it tests a little higher, so it tests anywhere between 90 and 100 consistently. But like when I'm actually downloading, it's between 70 and 80. So I can download, like I'll get home from work and like, because Xbox has got the Games Pass thing.
Yeah.
I'll jump on and I'll find all the games. Like I've got like 4 terabytes full of games because I'll come home and I'll set up downloads of like 5 or 6 games, and like I'll go do dinner, come back,
and it's done.
And like 3 or 4 of the games are done. So I'm not very good with the big games like fucking Call of Duty where they have like a fucking 100 fucking gig update fucking every other week, but like that still takes me a few hours. But like yeah, with smaller games like that are only like 5 or 10 gig, like it's done like that, like in an hour. Like I'll get a couple of them done in an hour.
You're gonna have to show me this after we're finished. Yeah. I don't believe you.
You don't believe me?
Nah.
I'll show you. You'll be like, fuck you. Because it's like the only advantage of living in Woodridge. Because we actually get fast internet here. Like, and saying that too, like I lived in like all the nice neighbourhoods in Logan, like Waterford and...
There's nice neighbourhoods in Logan?
There's nice neighbourhoods. And
are you sure?
Woodridge is a lot nicer now that Yarrabilba exists, I can tell you that much.
I don't know, Logan are nice.
Logan's got a bad rap, but it kept expanding and absorbing everyone. So Logan started as Woodridge, Logan Central, all that sort of stuff, and then it expanded and expanded and expanded. So
as soon as I get over that bridge onto the south side, I'm just like in... It's just...
the money's gone. There's a lot of money in Sandgate. Sandgate is Rich Bean Lee.
Rich Bean Lee.
Sandgate is Rich Bean Lee. It looks exactly the same. All the houses are about the same.
Is Bean Lee on the coastline, is it?
No, but it's close enough. But if you go to Sandgate, there's like a lot of rich cars there, but like all the houses look like shit.
Yeah, true.
But that's Bean Lee, right? Except they don't have nice cars, so they're just houses look like shit.
They're also not on the coast, so
they're
that's
close.
a terrible comparison.
They're 5k's from the coast. Except
but Sandgate's there.
Yeah, but we got a big island in the way. Nobody goes to the coast there. There's no beach.
Hey, Redcliffe has beaches.
Yeah, I know.
With no waves.
Yeah, perfect. Fishing, maybe?
No, it's fished out to all buggery. It's so shit for fishing.
Well, when I was driving over the bridge every day, it was like fucking...
I'd see heaps of people on the...
either end.
Yeah.
Especially the Redcliffe side.
Did you know there's a pontoon right in the middle?
Oh, yeah, I went past that and nobody was over there.
There's nothing out there to catch.
Oh.
Because all the boats go underneath and all the fish... Because the fish aren't done.
Yeah.
So they're not going to go around the pontoon.
Did you see my fish tank when you walked in?
I did see a fish tank, yes. Yeah. I didn't have a look at it.
There's lots of fish in it.
Can I put my rod in there?
You can try, but they won't be big enough to bite anything.
I'll just put a little flake on the smallest hook I can possibly buy.
Not the rod I was thinking about.
Well, I've only got a sewing needle, so...
Yeah, not a problem. I'll catch one for sure.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, no.
How did we go from cars to nerd stuff, then to fish?
Listen, I'm a master of just talking shit. It's all on the table for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the nerd stuff. Get a new Xbox.
No, I'm not a...
I
No,
never missed a PC. I don't even care.
PC Master Race.
Right.
The only console that I'll get next will be the PS5 when the new Final Fantasy comes out for it. And that'll be the only game I have for it. I've got a PS4, and I literally got a PS4 to play Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
And then Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
Yeah. How's that going for you?
I'm just waiting for the next part of Final Fantasy 7
Square
Remake.
Enix all over 'em, just...
Tell me a game that they made that's shit.
I was thinking of one in particular, but I can't remember the name of it. No, I'm lost now.
JRPG, like, you can't go wrong with a JRPG.
I mean, I'm so on the spot now, I'm not going to think of any of them. Oh, well. Nah, fucking...
Like Pokemon, JRPG.
Pokemon used to be the best.
Have you played Sword and Shield?
No.
It's not bad. Didn't mind it.
No?
See, I'm actually like, for consoles, I'm a Nintendo freak.
Yeah. I believe that, like...
Funnily enough, Nintendo's weren't my first foray into consoles though.
Really? What?
The first console that I ever had was a Sega Master System 2 with Sonic the Hedgehog built in. Not Alex the Kid.
Sonic?
You know, I only found out like this year that the Sonic the Hedgehog on that Sega Master System 2 was actually a port of the Sega Mega Drive Sonic the Hedgehog. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
So like, because I don't know, maybe it's because Australian market or whatever, but the Mega Drive was out and we were still getting Sega Master System 2s. So they downgraded the game to work on the Sega Master System 2 and some consoles came with it.
Jesus.
So I was just like,
oh, cheap port.
Yeah.
Wow. And my first foray into consoles was the PlayStation.
Here we go. This is going to show the age difference between us now.
4 years. The PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
So I was a little older. I was 6 years old. So I was already into Pokemon before I got into consoles.
Yeah, Game Boys.
Yeah, like because I was a lot older before I got my first Game Boy though. Yeah, I was 6, so Pokemon was just like at its big thing when the PlayStation had been out for like a couple of years now. So my dad got a PlayStation. So it was like 1997. Yeah. So Pokemon was just like the big thing on TV. Just got a PlayStation, and where I got into cars was actually my great uncle used to import Ford wreckers.
Yeah.
So he used to import like Mustangs, Oldsmobiles, all that sort of stuff, and I used to play around in his wrecking yard.
Yeah.
So that's where I first got into it, and then I got Gran Turismo, and that's where I got into Japanese cars.
Right.
It's my favourite car, and as a Toyota person, I think this is the worst. I always bought it first, and you could always find it in the used dealership. It was a Honda Prelude 1994 in the front wheel drive, and it was the best starter car you could buy for under $10,000 and still have money to modify it.
They come with the H22.
Something like that.
Yeah.
The 2.2 litre.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the car I picked first every time, and I didn't know what a fucking Sprinter was, but that car was in that game, and I was like, what's a Sprinter? Why did I win this? What? And I was like, whatever car.
Yeah.
But then I got into, as I got older, I got into more, and I my first Game Boy was the brick, and I didn't get it until I was 10 years old, so 2001.
Yeah, I think I would have been about 10 or 11 when Pokemon first come out. and by that stage, Game Boy Colors were out. But my cousin had the original brick Game Boy.
How cool
and
are those? 4 big batteries, and they only lasted like 4 hours.
So my parents bought that off my cousin, and then I got Pokemon.
What was your first Pokemon game?
Blue.
Fucking Blue Master.
What was your next one?
My next one was Red.
I went to Yellow.
Yeah, I wanted Yellow.
I've still got my yellow cartridge.
I had to
and my blue cartridge.
I had to work for pocket money, like it wasn't just a thing. So I didn't get anything for free. I had to work for everything. So
right, yeah.
For my first thing, like it was bought at Cash Converters. Like my dad drove me all the way into Redcliffe. Like I used to live in Clangar at this time.
Right, yeah.
So I grew up Townsville, Hobart, Sydney, whatever. I moved around a heap, and we first moved to Brisbane in 2000 or 2001.
Yeah.
Or 2000, a little earlier, 1999. Somewhere around there. So it was like 2000, 2001, and I was like doing every chore possible, and I earned like $1 or $2 for the chores. So he drove me all the way to Redcliffe, like into Redcliffe Cash Converters, because that's the only place that had a Game Boy brick. It's the only one that I could afford, and he would help me go through the papers and everything like that. He found it, and after school one day he's like, "You've earned enough." Went in, bought that, got Pokemon Blue with it. I was like, "Oh yeah," and then I did that, and then they wanted. Like my parents wanted me to read, so they started including reading into it.
Oh, okay.
So like every book you finish, depending on the book, you got X amount of money, and I lived literally right behind a library.
So you're just punching the books out.
Yeah, like, and I can speed read. Like this, like one of the weird tricks that I have up my sleeve is I can speed read and I can do 2 things at once. Like I can multitask and like I can read and do something else at the same time. So, and they would read the book as well, just to make sure I read it, because they'd be like, "Tell me about the book." Yeah. Because I'd be punching out 2 or 3 books a day. But it was like $2 for like the small, or like $1 for the smallest one, $2 for the next one up, and $5 for a novel.
So you're punching out the novels?
I was punching out small ones because I could get $5 a day, and then I'd do a novel over the weekend. Because I could read like a 500-600 page novel in like a day and a half. So that's how I worked up to get my Red, because they had no yellows at my local Cash Converters. So I was like on my way to school, and I was like, I'm going to buy this. I bought it on the way to school, and then I was like, because I missed the Game Boy Color because I had to buy the brick, and then the Advance was coming out next. So I read everything, like I just read book after book
to get an Advance.
I got to $100, and like the Advance was like 130 plus. Because I had gold. That was the other game I bought. I bought gold. And then
Silver. Still got it.
Alright. So then the next, like the Advance was coming out, like I hadn't come out yet, so I was like, I'm gonna go for that. And then when that launched, it launched with like Emerald, Ruby, and whatnot. So I got to $100. Like I'd read $100 worth of books in like a 3-month period. And like my parents were like, "It's been absolutely wild. You've done all the chores. You've bought this. We're going to chuck in a third of the price. We're going to go $150. You can have the game. You can have the thing."
Nice.
I was like, "Fuck yes."
Hell yeah.
And that was the last time I read a book. It's not quite, but I slowed down after that, because like the next Game Boy I wasn't interested in, because I could still play the same games on like the SP with the flip.
That's right.
And then after that, I was out of, like I was going into the deep dive into cars, because I bought same thing. I worked for the money to buy my first car, which I bought off my parents, which was an '89 Toyota Tarago at 13 years old.
Tarago?
Yeah, my first vehicle was an '89 Toyota Tarago. It was a Japanese import with a 3Y. The Japanese
3Y?
Yeah, the Japanese because it's an EFI model. So it had like a different manifold and everything like that. My dad hated it because it was an import, and they didn't have any of the Australian delivered stuff. So he was like, I hate it, and rah, rah, rah. Got stolen in Woodridge of all places at the bowling alley.
Where we are.
Back before Yarrabilba was a thing. At the bowling alley, and then they found it right next to my primary school, actually, which is in Waterford West, which are nowhere near each other. So it was just like a weird, hilarious coincidence, because it was my dad that drove past it, dropping us off to school, saw the car, reported it to the police, and the police was like, yeah, that's your car. So yeah, got it back, and I fixed it, like I bought it off them. I bought it for $300, and like I cleaned it all up, and I did some modifications. Like it was the one with the sunroof and the moonroof.
Oh yeah.
So like the full sliding extension, like it laid flat, so you had like the full bed experience out of the seats and everything like that. I cleaned it up and I sold it for $900.
Really?
Yeah. And my parents took a fucking chunk out of that too. They were like, how dare you? Yeah.
Tax.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I got my second car given to me, which was an A82 Corolla. And that started, like I was already into Toyotas, and that started the Toyota thing.
Right.
Like, the Corolla thing. So I've almost owned a Corolla for every year. I've, like from 15, like all the way up to where I am now, there was only like 2 years where I didn't own a Corolla. So I've always owned shit boxes.
You said it.
Yeah, at 15 years old, I was working as a furniture removalist.
Yeah.
So I bought a 20 valve. I bought a blacktop when they were like $1,000. I bought like a whole half cut, like it came with the whole front half of the AE111.
Yeah.
I bought that, and that was my first engine swap.
You know.
And then I parted the thing out. I had another A82 twin sitting there, and then I bought a bloody K70 for $50.
Imagine if you had kept some of these cars.
Yeah.
And engines.
Yeah.
The beauty of hindsight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's one of the things that I enjoy about, like Ty's car. I found in a paddock. Driving.
The red one, the original one.
The red one that he originally had. I found in a paddock. I was just driving past, and it was some old bloke's house.
Yeah.
And that's like the story is mirrored with Cameron's car.
Yeah.
Like I'm just driving by, and I find an A86, and it was like parked in the front yard, but like it was just like my next door neighbour. He's just like an old bloke with too much crap.
Yeah.
And like he had like mesh on the chain link fence, but it was like one of those 6-foot chain link fences.
Right. Yeah.
And it hadn't been run for like 7 years or something like that. And he was like, that crappy old thing. And yeah, he sold it for like $1,000 or something, like $2,000 or something, like 8 or 9 years ago. And yeah, he was just like, hang on, holes around the corner, grabs the battery, comes back, sticks it in the car, and fucking fires right up. drove it out of there, stuck it on a truck, drove it home. And like had the rally fucking bull bar on the front, front spotties and everything like that, muddies, tow bar, everything.
The Irish styling.
Yeah. Except it was like the chrome bar, like the ugly like old person chrome bar that they put on like you see Camrys with them still like and then like they got the spotlights.
The nudge bar.
Yeah, fucking ugliest thing, and you had this fucking tow bar on it and trailer plug and like. I was just like, man. So yeah, fucking, I convinced Ty to buy it because he just crashed his D89, which I bought at a Wreckers for $150. It literally just come into the wrecking yard, and I was there to buy parts for a different car. And I was like, I'll buy that car, and they were like, okay. I was like, how much do you want? And they were like, well, we paid $100 and we towed it here, so we'll give it to you for $150 and you can work out your own towing. I was like, sorted. So $50 tow all the way home and
$200 car.
Yeah. And I fixed it up and got it all roadworthy, and then sold it to my brother for $900.
Not bad.
And then he fucking crashed it, bent the fucking thing. And then when he got the 86, I'm like, if you fucking crash this, I'll kill you. And then like 3 months into it, he drove into a gutter and fucking bent the front fucking rail.
And then it was never right.
Oh, it had been crashed before. The front rad support had been repaired. Right. Not very well, but it had been repaired before, and like it wasn't the straightest of all vehicles. It was always full of rust and everything like that. Now, the bloke who owns it, now that I swapped.
That's
for,
right. Yeah.
Swapped for that shell. Like it's less rust than that shell.
Yeah.
And it's straighter too, but he literally just got it sandblasted, and the amount of fucking rust spots that he found. Yeah, it's a mess.
That's the gamble you take with these old cars that are prone to rust.
Yeah, and it's just like Ty got off with the best fucking shell out of all of us.
Yeah.
Then he fucking sells the thing for under market value too.
How much did he end up selling it for?
13 grand. With the paint, and he sold it in 10 minutes. Someone was like, "I'll come get it today with cash." Sold it in 10 minutes. When he actually decided he was going to sell it and not just put up 30,000 fucking... I'm going to sell it, no I'm not. I'm going to sell it in posts. When he was like, I'm actually selling it. And someone messaged him. Someone sold their 32 for it.
That's right, you did tell me that. Did he get it running before he sold it?
I don't know. Never asked.
Too pissed off to ask.
Yeah, well, I just don't care. I haven't got the energy to care about it. Like, because I was very emotionally invested in that vehicle. Always had been, because I'm the one who fucking sanded it down and fucking...
Since it was a red car.
Fixed up the bog and painted it.
Did the engine conversion.
Did the engine conversion. Rebuilt his original fucking 4AC when he fucking took it up hills with no fucking... He took it up fucking Nebo with no oil in it and came back with a rattle in the fucking sump. So we found him another fucking 4A, and I rebuilt his bottom end with the fucking engine, like with the block still in the car. Like I did it underneath, in between, like from one, like I finished work, came home, rebuilt his motor, and he drove to work the next day.
Really?
Yeah.
How long did that motor last?
Probably another year and a half, 2 years before he ran it dry again. Like he killed the first one in like 6 months, and then it was like a year and a half, and he bought the fucking 20 valve off another mate of mine, which was already a rear-wheel drive converted silver top. Like everything had already been done to it. All he had to do was drop it in there and get the wiring done. And you weren't doing engine conversions at this time.
I was probably still working for ECC. Oh.
No, you were just mobile because I had
That's right. That's right. And I went to your house to do the battery cabling.
Yeah. But like, and I mean, he had Sam, the
Razorback,
do it, and he was there and gone in like an hour. Like he was just like, you just need to do this, and this. Did it and left. But like Ty put it together and the wiring, like it was just a mess, and that's how it stayed for years.
Yeah, I know.
And I was just like, I can't deal with this anymore. When he did the fucking reshell, I'm just like, I can't deal with this anymore. We're doing a fucking clean up. So I spent fucking 2 days tucking, cleaning, hiding, rearranging, cutting and shutting the wiring loom so you almost couldn't fucking see it anywhere. He sells it.
Well.
I had a lot invested in that, and he turned around and did that, so I didn't ask whether it was running or not. When are you going to come drifting? When am I going to come drifting?
Yeah,
when are you going drifting so I can come out?
I've got to tighten a bolt on the turbo.
Oh.
Jeez, a couple of the bolts are coming out. There's only 3 bolts because it's TD06 and 2 of them are loose. I found that out when I took it to storage. I got to tighten those. I'm thinking about doing an all-day sesh.
Yeah. Because I'll and come have a skid.
You've just provided evidence now against yourself.
Listen, nobody from work's gonna see this. There's like 1-2 dudes that are interested in cars, and
then I'm gonna dob on you.
Nah, they're not interested. Like, one dude's a Corolla dude.
Yeah.
And he'll probably watch it. But yes. So well. What are you gonna do with the 14?
What am I gonna do with it? In terms of what, fixing it to go drifting, or
well, just
plans for the future?
Plans for the future. 3 bolts isn't fucking hard. That's not.
No.
Just like tighten them up, but
Yeah.
because everyone's selling up right now.
I seen someone, I think it was that Bo Stanton, put up an ad for a Red 14 just the other day, like up for like 25 grand or something, and it didn't even have half the mods that my car's got, and it's just like, put it up for 30 or something and see what happens.
That's like a massive renovation.
But then I'm just like, nah, I could never. I love that car. You know, like when you ask someone like, oh, if you could have any car, what would it be?
My car. And just running road.
Yeah, like people are going to say like, oh, Ferraris and Lambos and all sorts of stuff like that. Like, yeah, if someone's going to give me a Lambo or Ferrari or something like that, yeah, I'll take one.
The cost of ownership on one of those vehicles is too much for me to justify it for.
Yeah.
I'll go for a drive in it.
Yeah.
I'll enjoy it for a day. Someone else can have it back.
Well, actually, I was watching this YouTuber that I watch, and he must be pretty successful, but he's very humble.
Yeah.
And he was talking about like people like, oh, why don't you have a nice car and stuff? Because he's in America. He's got, I think, like a shitty Fox body Mustang or something. Not a car guy, like this gaming guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, if I had a nice car, I'd be stressing about it all the time. He's like, this car that I have, I can park it up and I don't care. You know, if someone dents it, yeah, I'll be pissed off for a little bit, but then at the end of the day, it's just a crap car. Like, I don't give a crap about it. And it's just like, it's a pretty good way to look at it. He's like, I know that I can buy those nice cars and I could own those nice cars, and that makes me happy anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, like back to ultimate cars, like, yeah, like, I don't think, like, if someone's like, oh, would you swap it for a 32 GTR? Probably not. Like, I love my car as it is, eh?
As someone who picked a 32 GTST over a 32 GTR, value-wise, I'd go back and do it. But as far as fun goes, like, I love that shit. Like, I spent $10,000 with you just on that, like, just with you, like, on that fucking stupid thing, and I enjoy it too much. Like, nobody's supposed to like RB20s. Like, that's not the rule. Like, it's an RB20. Get rid of it.
RB20s were CA18 replacements in S13s, and that's all they were.
Yeah. And I just love it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it goes back to my Corolla-isms, I guess. Like, the 4AGE is not the pinnacle of fucking motoring experience anywhere ever. No. Nobody's ever going to argue for that. Like, not even Bazda, who fucking has done more research and development in the Western world than any other person. It's like, he's like, yeah, they're a great motor, but like, they do have their, like, they're not perfect.
They have limits.
That's why he's bought them out. And they're like a 1.9 litre fucking turbocharged and all that sort of stuff. But like, as an NA motor, it's just like, it's still a 200 horsepower motor. Like, and that's just it. Like, it's not about horsepower or drivability for me. It's like good sound, dumb fun. I can drive it on the limit. Like, even 400 horsepower, that's a lot
for an RB20.
For an RB20, and just for a street car, even, like, I fry tires. Like, I don't know how I managed to make that gearbox last as long as I did, but I fry fucking tires.
Maybe because it's as laggy as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the 14, like, obviously I've got all the forged motor and stuff is sitting in pieces, but it's just like, the slapper motor's just going good, so I'll just keep going for a while. Eventually, I just got to get it over to the machine shop, get it put back together, checked out, put back together.
Yeah.
But, it's fun as it is.
Yeah.
Don't need to do anything to it. I'm slowly buying some, like, when I see bits and pieces and stuff, like, I actually bought brand new 200SX floor mats for it.
Yeah.
Because mine are faded, and look, finding JDM Sylvia mats, impossible. Not a fan of the checkered D-Max floor mats.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, there's those mobs that do true fits and stuff like that, but I'm like,
it's not the same.
I just want legit Nissan mats. I'll go the 200X route. That's what it is.
Yeah. That's the other weird thing that I enjoy, that I don't think people enjoy it enough. I think you're one of those people that do, is the weirdly cool, just factory option stuff.
Yeah, there's a few people out there. There's a Facebook page where people love the.
I know, but that's what I'm building the A92 like no modifications. Like I've got coilovers, and I had to replace the exhaust because I ended up scraping a hole in it. But I want to replace the exhaust with like one of those ones that you can get. Fujitsu.
Oh yeah.
I want to go full Fujitsu, just so it's like proper Japan. Like I'm not interested in the performance. The sound will be on point. It doesn't have to be like Ty's fucking B muffler.
Speaking of that, I was actually telling the boys at the shop the other day how I built that exhaust for him, and because we had a K70 or A71 in to get running on a new ECU and that.
Yeah.
And Glenn was just like, "Oh, I hate the sound." And I'm like, "Funny story." I said I did Ty's exhaust and I took it for a test drive, and I remember speaking to him on the phone or on messages going, "Oh, it's pretty buzzy." I'm like, "Hopefully it'll dull down when it soots up a bit." And he's like, "I hope it doesn't." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Oh yeah, I'm not a fan of that 4A buzz, but
I love the 4A buzz. I love it because it's unique. It sounds like it's fast, but it's not really.
Because there's not a lot of other 4-cylinder NA engines that sound like that, eh? Like even if you put like a simple exhaust on like an SR20 NA, it just doesn't, that sounds shit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. They just have this really unique buzziness to them.
Yamaha.
Yeah, the bees. But yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like the Fujitsu exhaust would be like really sort of suited to that, without going over the top, because like Japan doesn't like over the top unless you really up it. That was the problem with Ty's car; it was always up it. Like it always sounded like you were full throttle everywhere.
Because he was.
Well, even when I was driving it, and. It's not a drone, but the constant noise would be annoying. Yeah. Especially considering he had no interior, no sound deadening with the new shell or anything like that, no carpet, no mats.
Yeah.
He put carpet back in the front after me begging him to. But like and that's why I really love that muffler that I got off you for the R32.
Yeah.
Like it just worked out perfectly because it's quiet. Like it drives like a normal car. Like there's no annoying noise unless you really get up it. Make that really raspy noise.
Yeah.
And it is a really raspy like noise for an R.
It's a sick sound, eh?
Yeah. And that's sort of what I want for the A92. Like it's a droney, like very Western, like Australian sort of fucking.
How's that go again?
But it's just really drony exhaust and I don't like it.
Yeah.
But like I paid $150 just to replace the rear section with a muffler.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm gonna go full extractors the whole way back.
Just mild steel.
They are. I think they might be a stainless, but they got a proper oval muffler that, like with the Skyline, like it's a stainless exhaust with a proper oval muffler with actual chambers and not just the straight through lookie that fucking Ty had. So it will actually muffle it unless you fucking absolutely hammering it. So that's what I ideally sort of want, and just like I've been buying all weird sort of factory Japanese option stuff because at the minute it's a Japan only car.
Yeah.
So like just all the weird Japan only stuff that came in Corollas, and I'm like sort of slowly piecing it together, and like I want like an ETC card machine.
Well, if you're getting one, I want one for the 14 too.
Yeah, ETC card.
We are wankers, but
yeah. There's a reverse thing. There's like Bakshima Goichi Kudasai Ding Ding. So stick
doesn't Jimmy Oakes have one of those in his little? Do you watch Jimmy Oakes?
No.
He's got like a little one of those Suzuki Carry Utes, I think it is. Yeah. I haven't really watched too much of it, but yeah, they've got one of those backup speakers on it. And it plays like music as well.
Oh yeah. You can switch it over, like it's got a power wire for the music and a power wire for the thing. Yeah. The Common Earth.
Yeah.
So whatever you're doing, you just attach that to your
to the reverse.
Yeah. So it just goes on your reverse light, so it plays up like you're supposed to drop it out the back, and it's So I'm getting one of them. I want the taxi light, but the place I see them, they end up selling out super fast.
Is that the purple ones?
No. So that's a breakdown light. So all Japanese cars are required to have a breakdown light. I've got flares.
Yeah. I know you got plenty of those.
Yeah. But like I've got because Japanese cars, when they're on the road, they're required to have a breakdown light and a breakdown flare due to fog and stuff like that. So I've got the breakdown flare in the like it goes in the passenger footwell. I've got it in both the Skyline and the A92, but I've got in there, and then I want the purple breakdown light as well. But reproduction ones are like $150, but then you can get genuine Nissan ones for $200. And I'm like, do I want a Nissan one or do I want a reproduction one? Nissan, my Toyota. Get a Nissan one for the Nissan, but so that's like the weird sort of way I want to take the A92. Like not a single performance mod in it. Never supposed to go fast. Just
because it's a 7A, isn't it?
No, it's just 4A. My old A92 had a 7A.
That's right.
And I've got the block downstairs with a 20 valve head ready to go for the drift car. So that's the ultimate plan for that. Like I bought that big port for $250 with Lumen ECU, ready to drop in. Bought reasonably enough to drop in. And I bought the head for like $350, and the block I already had. I bought a VRS kit, so I've already got all the kit, like all the gaskets and everything like that there. I've got to get the block machined. I've got to get that and the crank acid dipped, or hot tanked, because they're both like covered in surface rust. But I had to pick up a new crank because the old crank in the 7A is what fucked out. But I've still got all the crank caps. I've still got all my pistons, everything like that. So I'll just replace the pistons, get the head decked, drop the head on it with a thinner gasket, and I can hopefully make like 150 horsepower.
Yeah, I can hopefully make 100 horsepower.
Yeah, spent all that money, 150 horsepower. And that was like Ty spent that money on the 20 valve. Yeah. 134 at like peak and 125 at last June. Horsepower at the rear wheel, so 150 is a lot. Yeah. Because even on 15s, like that thing would skid, no problem. But like he had an adjustable sway bar, TRD sway bar in the back of it, like 24mm, and he set it to like the damn near strongest, like second from the strongest, and you could chuck that around and it would just skid, like just wildly fucking. And like he had 6 kilo springs in the rear, and like 4 kilos in front. So plenty of steering and lots of skidding. Yeah. But buy beta. Buy beta and come drift with me with beta.
Why did you get rid of your beta? You had the 31.
Stopped working. I didn't want to have to fucking go through all the wiring issues, and I ran out of work.
Another car that you could have kept and sold for a fucking pretty penny.
I made profit on it. Parting it.
How good was it when the exhaust fell off?
Oh.
At Matsuri. Have you got any bolts? And I'm just like, I have this random bolt tray in my 14. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, the same thing happened to the 32 in fucking Archie. You put that exhaust together, though. I put the other one together.
Well, you're supposed to maintain your car and look over things.
Oh.
Okay, look, my own turbo's fallen off.
Yeah. I mean, mine did too when I took Glenn for that fucking run. Or was it you? It was you.
No, it was Glenn, because you come back and Glenn's like, yeah, we just had this banger. Yeah. which was the bolt hitting the floor. Yeah.
Oh. Fuck, he loved it. I didn't think he'd love it that much, but he was like, fuck yeah. Like, he's got the fucking 2J, like...
No, 1J.
Or 1J, so sorry. It was...
I suppose it's still half a litre bigger than your engine.
Yeah, and turbo. But I've got 400 horsepower though, so...
He's got... They make alright, what was it, 234 or 254? Yeah.
That's... And you want to get rid of your J32.
No, well, actually, we had a bit of time yesterday afternoon where most of the stuff in the shop was done. Ooh. So I'm like, Glenn, let's start planning out this loom.
Fuck yes, I'm keen for this.
Yeah, I think towards the end of the year, which is not far away now, but like as long as we get all our jobs finished, the week leading up to Christmas isn't super busy, so might have a loom for it. Just all I'm gonna do, I think, is if I get a turbo before then, I'll plumb up the oil system. If I don't get if I don't get a turbo before then, I'll just block off the oil system.
Yeah.
And then just engine loom and a fuel system.
Yeah.
That's it. And then just at least put a base map in the Motec and fire it up, see if it runs and lives.
I'm really confused as to why you went Motec.
Because I got it I found it at a really good price.
Oh, okay.
Like
fucking everything on that car you found at a really good price.
Yeah.
It's a fucking Blitz GTR fucking intercooler for fuck all.
No, it's Gretty.
Sorry, Gretty, yeah.
Or HKS. No, Gretty.
No, it's Gretty. Because they were like fucking $1,700 and you paid like $200.
Dude, I bought a GTR wing, that intercooler, and an SR20 rocker cover for $150.
Fuck you. Fuck you. That's like
the front guards I got for $250 for the pair.
Some of the guards.
No way.
Yeah, swap out. Swapsies.
Nah.
Because I got the genuine bonnet for $100.
My genuine bonnet was $50, but it's in a lot worse condition.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, literally everything on that car's just bargain.
Nothing.
Just bargain. But now it's worth like, I could sell it as is for like 10.
Yeah. And that's what's funny about that bonnet. Like I was like, oh yeah, I've got a genuine GTR bonnet, and someone's like, I'll give you $500 now. I'm like, what am I going to do for a bonnet then? He's like, I don't know, I don't care. I'll give you $500 now. I'm like, how about no? It's so good to lift though. Fucking.
Oh yeah.
Fucking don't have any of that heavy shit fucking flopping around on you.
But yeah, so get that 1J running.
Keen.
And then if the motor goes to shit straight away because of that rust in cylinder 2, and I've got that 2J bottom end there. They're fucking worth heaps now too.
Yeah.
You can't buy it. Like I bought that whole motor disassembled for $400.
Yeah. And now it's like a $2,000 fucking bottom end. Like that's how wild it's getting. Because thanks fucking what's his name in Sydney? Fucking exports all the Supras. Abdullah.
No.
Yeah, Abdullah fucking he's was it Pro Street I think he runs, but he was sending like fucking.
What, just all the
five or six Supras to America a month.
Really?
Yeah, he was buying them up like crazy.
How good? What about Glenn? Like he bought his for $8,000.
Yeah, it's now like fucking $30,000, $40,000. Oh, he's 1J swapped it. It's more than that now.
Yeah, I think in total he worked out. Like obviously we did it all, but it was like $5,000 that he spent to do the swap. So he's, let's say, $15,000 into that car now.
Yeah.
And he wanted to sell it. He's like, "Oh, it's just too much work to get it nice." I'm like, dude, you ain't gonna, like, yeah, you'll make money on it as it is.
You'll never buy another one.
No, you won't buy a tidy one and then you got to spend more money on it again. Yeah.
Like even in the top end, like if you've got a fucking Targa top fucking like, and this is what was wild. Targa top TT, like the twin turbo 2JZ factory manuals were going for like $140,000.
Yeah, he's painting it now though.
Oh, is he?
Over our Christmas break,
yeah.
He's G'd it up with one of the guys that works in the complex.
Yeah.
And use a spray booth in that other shed.
What colour? Black?
Nah, he's going like a gunmetal grey. Dark, but he's factory Toyota colour.
Oh, okay.
New 200 series.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, literally, because we were working on one of them the other day.
And he was like, I love this colour.
Well, I was like, because he said to me he's going like that gunmetal grey colour. I'm like, just get a factory paint code, because then it's, you know, if you ever have to paint more panels or anything like that, it's super easy to get it matched.
Yeah.
And we had it in there. I'm like, what about that one? That's nice. And yeah, he did. So he's, yeah.
My dream colour is 8
Dog dick red.
No. Well, I mean, it's not about colour, but 8v8. It's a.
Cameron's got dog dick red.
Yeah, he does now.
Alex wants to paint his 32 dog dick red.
Really?
Yeah.
No, mine's is blue. 8v8.
You should paint your 32 dog dick red.
No. Lexus LFA blue.
Nah.
Yep.
DDR.
No.
DDR.
No.
Oh, you can't be in the DDR crew then.
Well, you can't be in GNU Force.
Mate, GNU Force is dissolved.
No, it's not.
I think it is.
No, I'm literally getting stickers made up.
Who's left? Jesse?
Me.
You?
Me. Cameron. Yeah. I'm gonna get 2 more. I'm gonna get 3 more people together. Jesse. Oh, and Jesse, me, Cameron. Yeah, you and Alex. Yeah, that'll be fun.
No, we're DDR racing.
No. You can be GNU Force. GNU Force, mate. Yeah, you can be like.
So, which GNU Force character are you?
The fat idiot with the 4 eyes.
I'm not gonna lie, that's who I was thinking of before you two.
Yeah.
No offense.
You're Jace.
What's his name?
You're Jace, the skinny, fast one.
The one like the snake-like dude. Oh, which one's Jay? Oh.